In stakeholder management is one of the key areas that you cannot sweep away with when you are managing a project. Most of these days, when people are managing a project, they believe that ones that have known their stakeholders when they have started planning their project, or when they are initiating their project, they have known the sponsors, they have known some key stakeholders when they are initiating the project or planning the project, that is enough, that this is the only that stakeholder they will work with. No, if you are become a project management professional, you start to understand that the stakeholders you identify initially during your project initiation or your project planning is not enough for you to know who are the actually stakeholders in your project. One of the basic things about stakeholder engagement is that it will help you to know that whether you are on track, whether you are moving accordingly, whether you are satisfying them expectation or meeting their expectation, whether there is any changes that they required for you to be able to execute your project successfully. Well, one of the things that I do in terms of stakeholders management is that to collect their requirement, engage them, understand what they need for us to be able to actualize what they expected on that project. So, in terms of stakeholder management, is one of the key factors in terms of managing a project. So you have to understand one basic thing about stakeholders. They always want them to be part of that project. They always want to make sure that the project is moving according to plan. They always want to know whether are we actually creating values, or are you actually meeting up to the customer's requirement. So there's basic things that stakeholders are always expecting. I also see whether is it aligned with what they expected. Was there any need for changes? Stakeholders can come up and say, no, we are not getting this right. Can we be able to change this other way around? So you come around table, discuss with them, understand their expectation, understand their requirement in order for us to move on their project. So how can you be able to identify all these stakeholders? That's one of the challenges that we are facing. So somebody will say, can we discuss that we have known them from the beginning? How can you? One thing about stakeholders, that stakeholders change. That's why you keep on clarifying stakeholders. You have to know their support. You have to know the the high the expectations of the other stakeholders. So the stakeholder that you ignore from the beginning of the project may be the key stakeholder during the execution of the project, or some certain stages in the execution of the project. So what do you need to do at every moment? Right? You keep on identifying your stakeholders, not just you as a team leader of the project, but also part of people who are actually part of that project are also even the stakeholders that you are working with. You can also ask them, who is this man? What is this all about this project? So you will be able to know how you can be able to engage such stakeholders in your project. So it doesn't focus more on people who have initially identified, but it's a continuous process. You will keep on identifying the project, identifying the stakeholders on your project. So in order for you to actualize what is the expectation of all these stakeholders, certifying stakeholders in execution and conclusion of a project is a paramount than completing the project without identifying all these stakeholders, these key stakeholders. So how can you be able to actualize all these things? It's very, very key factors. Keep on engaging them, keep on understanding their expectation, keep on understanding their requirement, keep on feeding them, informing them, let them know, engaging them continuously, monitoring those who are low stakeholders, know whether when they can be able to come up and know who to engage and how to engage them, understand the way they need to engage them, the communication, whether they need to be called, whether there is through mail. Every stakeholder has different ways of their expecting information. So some use social media, some use phone calls. It depends on the stakeholder. So it's very important that you know how to engage the stakeholders. But however, remember that not just identifying all these stakeholders, there is also stakeholders that will be resistant during your project. So how can you be able to engage such resistant stakeholders? You need to engage them most of the time, engage them one-on-one. Let them know, meet them personally. You can, even face to face, whichever way, even visual, you can be able to engage them and ask them what are their expectations. Explain to them what you are intended to do. Then you let them know to give you the feedback expectation that you want. and how you believe that you should be done better. In that note, that's when you start explaining reason behind some of all these decisions and what lead to this. So it left for you to clarify. He left for you both of you to brainstorm, for you to understand his own requirement and see how he can be able to key in to the project that you are working on. But however, that does not mean that you are trying to accommodate everybody's interest. Yes, it's important that you accommodate everybody's interest, but they have to consider so many factors. Is it aligned with the goals of the project? So you have to understand that the goals of the project is the paramount that shouldn't be deviated from. So if there's any changes, let it follow the process of change request in order for us to execute that project. So all stakeholders must agree and work towards them understanding the expectation. Yes, there will be an issue, there will be challenges on the project, there will be some resistance on the project, there will be some neutral project, whatever. They say go on whatever you want to do, but you need to know all the basic things that are required for you to do in order for you to execute a project successfully well. So what do you need to do and how are you going to do them? So identifying stakeholders at each stage of your project is very, very important until the completion of that project. Also let them know you have achieved the vision and close your project successfully well. That's one of the reasons of identifying the stakeholders on time. But however, I will still give you more details of how you can manage your stakeholders management, how you be able to engage them in your project and make them to be better in your project. So you other big key factors in managing your project. I still remain Seamus here on Wizwe. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. I'm explaining to you in more details what you need to do, how you can be able to engage them and make them feel part of your project and make your project successfully while in your project. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.